Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Happening Now with me, Tim. Over the past week there have been many breaking stories, but today we start with maybe the biggest breaking story of all. But probably not.
If you've been fully vaccinated, you no longer need to wear a mask. Let me repeat, if you are fully vaccinated, you no longer need to wear a mask.
We can take our masks off! Woo! Unless you're in California, that would be June 15th, or you're dealing with the weight of a year's worth of thinking either yourself or someone you love is going to die because of a deadly airborne virus. Or hell, maybe you just want to keep on continuing to wear it to not worry about showing everybody the coffee breath you have every morning for just a little longer. Now, this was a big call by the CDC to move in the direction of no masks, and though some are feeling a sense of relief, there are many that are scared by this quick transition. Or if you're me, just confused by the whole thing. I mean, President Biden said, either you get vaccinated or you wear a mask. The choice is yours. Which is stern, but also makes no sense, because if you're somebody that was wearing a mask this whole time, there's a good chance that you're either fully vaccinated or minimally on your way to being fully vaccinated. And the people that don't want to be vaccinated, the ones that were trying to get there, have not been wearing a mask this whole time. And here's what I'll say in the end. If you want to wear a mask, continue to wear a mask. There's nothing wrong with that. Me personally, I'm going to keep wearing it for a while because I feel more comfortable, I feel more safe in public, and also the coffee breath thing. It's a life changer. I don't have to worry about any of it ever again. Moving on, there was some interesting news to come out of Monday.
A developing story, an ominous sign for Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida. His close associate Joel Greenberg agreed to plead guilty to several crimes, including child sex trafficking.
That's right, Representative Matt Gaetz' partner, Joel Greenberg, pled guilty to child sex trafficking among 5 other charges. Now, this guilty plea is just part of a bigger criminal investigation on Matt Gaetz by the Justice Department. There was, however, nothing in writing sent out to the press about Gaetz' involvement, but after the 6-charge guilty plea by one of his closest associates, I have a small feeling he's not feeling particularly great right now. Quick fun fact, this investigation was started during and signed off by the Trump administration. Who would have thought? Speaking of criminals, both GOP leaders in the House and Senate, Dead-Eyes Sad-Face and Turkey Neck McGee, have come out against the bipartisan created January 6th Insurrection Commission. Because no fucking shit they don't want that to happen. You mean to tell me the people that would come out looking horrible at the end of the story don't want the story to be told? Crazy! Also, why do they get a say? That would be like if somebody robbed a bank and the police were like, look, I know we all saw him do it, and there's video evidence, yes. But his best friend said no to the investigation, so I guess we'll just try to forget it ever happened. Doesn't make any sense. Unfortunately, whether the GOP likes it or not, that day is going to be a part of history forever, and there is literally nothing they can do to stop it, no matter how much they try. And now, for a Tim Time break.
So Luke found a new hiding place, which is under the dresser, and I think she's gonna try and fit the poop scoop under the dresser. You're doing great, sweetie. You're doing great. You're doing amazing. Oh, yes.
For our final story, we're going to dive into the heartbreaking conflict that's happening between Israel and Palestine right now. First things first, right up top, we're not going to be talking about the history of the conflict today, as it would take me a year's worth of episodes just to brush the surface of the conflict. Instead, what I'm hoping to do is bring some level of humanity to the subject. Because for us here in the US, it can be really easy to pick sides, or, let's be honest, just not care at all, because we're so removed from that area of the world. But there's currently hundreds of lives being lost, and it's really, really, really important that we pay attention. And please bear with me as things might get a little complicated. So, there was an attack on Israel by a militant group called Hamas, who have decided entirely by themselves that they're going to fight for Palestinians. And Israel responded with an onslaught of bombs being dropped on the Palestinian-controlled Gaza Strip. Now, though both sides have lost innocent lives, they're not even slightly close when it comes to total lives lost. And these are figures from Wednesday. 227 Palestinian lives have been lost, whereas only 12 lives have been lost in Israel. The reason for this is mainly because Palestinian citizens have no way to defend themselves, unlike Israel, who has one of the most advanced militaries in the world. Mainly because they're funded by the strongest military country in the world, the United States. But we'll get into that in a second. And really fast, before I continue, I just want to get one major thing out of the way right now. One of the biggest false narratives about the fighting is that it all stems from religion. That is beyond false. Religion in both countries is used as a recruiting tactic and nothing more. There are far bigger powers in play, and those that are at the bottom are having their beliefs abused so that their respective government groups or powerful militant groups can gain some sense of leverage in the region. If you want to get a better idea on what I'm talking about when it comes to the conflict and recruiting tactics in this forever war, I highly recommend you watch the film Paradise Now. It is amazing and unbelievably heartbreaking. But the biggest problem with what's happening is the approach that the Israeli government has had to handling this issue. They are, with no regard for human life, violently attacking Gaza and the innocent Palestinian people that live there. They are currently committing a numerous amount of human rights violations with no pushback from their strongest supporters in the US government. In fact, just this week, a $735 million weapon sale was signed off by President Biden, which is simply unacceptable, and also directly implicates this country in the killing of innocent lives in Gaza. Here's the thing. Palestinian people need to be protected. They should not be stripped of their right to live because of a militant group in their area. And the US needs to reverse their weapon sale and stop looking at the country of Israel as just another pawn piece on a chessboard. Too many lives are at stake. And on that sad note, that is our show for this week. If you have any free time at all, please check out the link below or above if you're on Facebook or Twitter. And check out the 5-minute video of a late-night TV show host in Israel speak truth to power. It is incredibly moving. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I will see you next week. Widan and Shalom.